want them to call you Bruce, the old bruiser of biceps? Well, don't you forget to watch this video.
Welcome back to Self-Built. Today is a training video. This is landmine themed and we're going to be hitting biceps today. I've been enjoying just doing these landmine themed exercises. Just makes it a lot of fun. And I'm going to share 3 different setups with you. And each individual setup, you could basically have an arm day by itself with it, just depending on how you position yourself, which I'll go a little bit more detail into. So get yourself a bag of popcorn because we're about to blow up these biceps with landmines. This first exercise is one of the most simple and basic ones you can do. I'm just using a landmine that's attached ground level, and I'm just going to add weights onto it. My hand placement is going to be right below where you load the plate, so that way it's just consistent. You're not able to do huge amounts of large plates just because it would hit your chest, but I don't know who's going to be curling a giant amount of weight doing one arm at a time. Anyways, if you are, hey, you're awesome. First exercise that we got for biceps are landmine single arm curls. I'm doing this in a variation of a concentration curl, and you're going to know immediately that this feels very different than using cables or normal dumbbells. With you using a landmine, you are in a fixed position as far as your hand being able to move up and down. And it really helps you focus in on just bringing your hand up and getting a really good squeeze in your bicep. It feels a lot different on the joints too. So if you're doing any type of curls that just don't agree with your elbows that day, these are a great alternative to try it out to feel an effective exercise and give your elbows a break in its normal use of doing curls. You can see as I'm bringing the weight up, I try to get a squeeze at the top and really control it on the way down, get a good stretch, and then bring it back up. It really makes it so much harder to where you don't need much weight. I'm only using a max of like 25 pounds per arm, and I can tell you, trying to get to 10 reps is pretty challenging when you're doing that sort of tempo. On this one, I'm having my elbow kind of locked in with my knee just to kind of keep that so it's not swinging or moving. Just really helps focus on just using that bicep to be moving the weight. And then if you want to change it up, you can do drag curls, and I'll remove my elbow from getting locked in, and I'm just going to focus on doing that drag motion. You're going to see my elbow moving around a little bit and being a little bit loosey-goosey. I'm just focusing mostly on using my bicep to pull that weight up. It makes it feel completely different than just doing a normal curl. So there's a little bonus one for you. That's not some of the setups I'm including, but just wanted to throw that in since I'm already in that position. Second landmine exercise to be going to be blowing up them biceps. We're going to be doing a small alteration. I'm going to add a curl bar to the landmine itself. You can attach that really easily with some chain and some carabiner. It allows you to train both arms at a time as opposed to the first exercise. And depending on whatever bar you attach to it, you could really change up the variety and how it's feeling. I'm just doing a standard easy curl bar, and with your setup on this, you can try standing straight up. The only issue you run into is if you curl too high and if your angle of your landmine is such that your carabiner might want to lift the weights off of the landmine. That could be an issue. So what I did to fix that was just have a wider stance and squat down a little bit so that way there's not as much of an angle towards the top. But the tension feels really good on this exercise. I kind of do a little small hybrid where I'll let my elbows sink back a little bit as I'm curling. I just feel the tension better that way. But you can play around with it and see what you like. Don't forget to keep it under control the whole time. Try to get around 10 to 12 reps. And one additional alteration you can do if you want is just get a longer chain. So that way you can stand more straight up in that the bar isn't so high, the angle's much lower. So that way you can just curl without even having to worry about it. If you don't want to be in a wide stance, that's a great option to do that. Third and final exercise is one of my favorites that I've been using for years. It was one of the original ones that I came up when I'm combining landmine and cables together for bicep training. I'll show you how I put it together because some of these contraptions can seem like they take forever to make, but this really doesn't. There's just a learning curve when it comes to highly functional DIY gyms to where the first few times it might take a minute, but as you have it down in your head, you already know what to do, so you don't have to really take a huge resting break, and you can keep your intensity up and make it fun at the same time. If I was to compare this setup to something in a commercial gym, the best one I would compare the feel to would be the one where you're sitting down and you've got pads between both arms and you've got the handles that come out right in front of you, and you just feel really locked in. There's just tension all the way through the range of motion. This is how this feels too. It feels very stable. It feels like there's very little stress on the joints and just really helps you focus in on your biceps. There's many different variations you can do, and all you have to do is just simply turn your body towards or away the handle as you're curling. If you want to do 2 arms at a time, you can still do that. With my current setup, it does make it a little bit of a challenge. It does move the weights a little bit, which doesn't affect how it feels. I just don't like the look of it. I could change it to where the barbells are on the outside of the cables instead of the inside. But on this one, for me, I'm just going to be doing single arm curls. But for your setup, you can still do 2 arms at a time. Just do it however you want, but this is a great setup that I've really enjoyed. And as you're doing heavier weight, or if your hands start to get a little bit raw, simple fix for that is just add some pipe to it. I just throw a 1-inch pipe onto it, and it changes it up in many ways. First, it saves your hands from getting chewed up from those threads, and then that handle rotates as you curl up. Just makes it super comfortable. Both are great ways to do it, but I always like to change things up. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was entertaining, and hopefully you learned some great ideas that you can do bicep training with just a landmine, and that you don't have to use landmines that are just on the ground. You can attach them to your squat rack or whatever. There's so many possibilities, and I'm just sharing those ideas with you guys. I can tell you that my biceps are feeling blown up and they are feeling good. So give these a try if you haven't already. If you have any recommendations or would like to see any exercises geared with landmine exercises, let me know in the comments below. I love reading all your comments and reply to each and every one of you. It means a lot that you guys will watch me. Thank you so much. If you want some more gains, don't forget to watch one of these videos over here. I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to punch in or take it on that gain train, and we'll see you next time on Self Built.